Yeah, thank you. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody here on the live call today, Thursday, July 14th, as well as thank you for listening to the recording. My name is Steve Guthrie. Some of you folks know me from past CA Worlds, particularly for the products that I'm associated with in our Agile Ops portfolio, namely our APM, our Unified Infrastructure Management, our Performance Management, our Spectrum, and many other products in that portfolio, those being the top ones, if you will. What I'd like to do today is just briefly take a look back at CA World 16 and then give you some insight into our plans for CA World 17 that opens on Monday, November 13th with our PreConference Education program and extends actually out till Friday morning for the bike ride with Mike Gregoire and others. One thing I've asked my team and the folks within CA to follow is if you're going to send me an email around CA World 17, if you'd be so kind to begin the subject line with CAW 17. I've given you an example there. That certainly helps me organize and manage my inbox. I welcome email from any of you, and just in order for me to manage, oftentimes what I do each morning is I'll sort my inbox by subject line and take care of those CAW 17s first. Just a quick look back at CA World 16. You can see our demographics. Nearly 3/4 of the attendees come from North America, and 15% come from EMEA, roughly 10% from APJ, and 5% from Latin America. Social media has become a major element to CA World for the last couple of years. We've seen the numbers increase. You can see the impressions and whatnot in that second column. And then if we look at data from the event, we can see that, almost 1,500 Executive Center meetings. I'll talk about the Executive Center as we go along. Lots of customer speakers. Our Pre-Con Ed sessions are very popular. We'll talk about those as we go forward. We're getting great feedback from our customers. We think as we've pivoted the program in a couple of different ways, I think every year there's something different about CA World. We get great feedback from that. And as you can see, nearly 90% stated they had meaningful engagements. I'm not going to go through this slide, but this sort of backs up the popularity of Pre-Con Ed. As I looked at our CA World 16 session attendance numbers from last year, if you look at from the infrastructure management portfolio last year, which included Unified Infrastructure Management and Performance Management and Spectrum and Virtual Network Assurance and Network Flow Analysis, you can see that aside from the roadmaps are always the most popular. You can see both in the IM category as well as the APM, the #1 sessions, if you will, our vision and roadmaps. But if you look at IM, look at the popularity of Pre-Con Ed. So we continue to put a lot of emphasis on Pre-Con Ed. Again, I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go. On the APM side, again, with the exception of a couple of a technology primer and a couple of case studies, again, Pre-Con Ed, very popular. Quick overview of the agenda. It does indicate that it's subject to change. I don't think it's going to change all that much. But just as a caveat, it is subject to change. But we begin on Monday the 13th for 2 days with, first of all, our Pre-Con Ed education program, but also our web-based training. And for those of you who've come to CA World in the past and gone into that very large ballroom where we've set up, I forget how many PCs, but lots of folks take advantage of us opening up our catalog of training sessions from our education program. That's very popular. This year, we'll continue to do both our product and skills certifications. programs. I just communicated with our partner organization today. I know they plan once again to extend their program around getting partners certified for both the selling as well as the technical aspects. From an Agile Ops perspective and from a continuous delivery perspective, we'll have our customer advisory board on beginning on Monday afternoon, and then the event that evening. Tuesday looks very similar to Monday, with the exception of a partner program that kicks off in the afternoon. And then for everybody, our global welcome reception that begins on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Some folks consider Wednesday day one. Given that I've probably already been in Las Vegas a couple days, it's certainly not day one for me, but it is the beginning of the main program, in particular with our CEO, Mike Gregoire's keynote beginning at 8:30. We open up our exhibit center and our executive one-on-one centers. I'm going to show you some pictures and some changes we've made around that as we go forward. That opens up at 10. Almost all of the content areas, and I'll show beyond Agile Ops, I'll acknowledge the other content areas here in another slide or two, have a keynote from 10:30 to 11:15. And then in particular by 11:30, we start to have additional theater sessions like the content area keynote. We have additional theater sessions. I'll show you the schedule for that, not the topics yet, but the schedule for that. And then tech talk sessions, and I'll talk more about tech talks again in a few more slides. We'll again hold our Women in IT Forum program on Wednesday afternoon. By the way, it's not just for women. There are male attendees as well. And then our event night on Wednesday is what we're calling Party in the City, subject to change, but the general thinking here is we'll have 5 different ballrooms set up, or 5 different venues set up, each focused on a different city around the world. Again, subject to change, but I wouldn't be surprised if one of those themes was the Big Apple. Wouldn't be surprised if one of those themes was some city from Latin America, maybe Mexico. Another city, perhaps from APJ, perhaps from India. So again, little different network reception than last year, but again, an opportunity for you to mingle with your peers as well as your CA colleagues and partners. Thursday, again, very similar to Wednesday. We kick off after breakfast with our technology keynote with our CTO and our general manager of products. And both Otto and Ayman will share the stage and talk about some of the technologies, some of the innovations, some of the ways that we're approaching this very dynamic market, and how we help break down barriers and achieve ideas. Then again, similar to Wednesday, our exhibit center opens up, our executive one-on-one center opens up. Many of the content areas have some sort of a luminary keynote at 10:30, and then again, similar to Wednesday, 11:30 to 4:45, we have sessions in the theater as well as in the tech talk. And then our event night, I was just looking at our schedule of sort of announcements, the talent, if you will, for the event night, the big concert that we sponsor will be announced sometime in August. And then Friday, most people travel home, if not on Thursday night or on a red-eye Thursday night. Many people depart on Friday, with the exception of those who have joined the cycling event. If you're interested in the cycling event, please get with your account team and have them nominate you. There are a limited number of bicycles. I think it's a couple hundred. I do know that this is very popular. You may know that CA has a relationship with Trek. We're very active now with Eurosport and the cycling events that they have. Our CEO, Mike, is a very enthusiastic cyclist, and that's the heritage of that. So there's a quick review of the agenda. I won't read this in detail. It's not that important. I do want to call out a couple things when we think about what is the goal of Agile Ops, and one is that this year, as we look at what our customers are telling us and what the technologies that our customers are deploying, cloud-based services consistently come up. Microservices from an application development, an application release, and application performance perspective is a very important technology. And then from our networking space, our network operations space, virtualized networks with software-defined networks, with natural function virtualization, with software-defined data centers, with software-defined wide area network, those technologies consistently come up in conversations that we have. So those will be three themes. Those won't be the only themes, but those will be three themes that we'll certainly explore. We'll also look at what's emerging even for CA, and that is the consumption model around software as a service. Some of you may be familiar with our new Digital Experience Insights platform, where we provide end-user monitoring, we provide application performance monitoring, we provide infrastructure monitoring as a service based on this Digital Experience Insights platform. If you're not familiar with that, if you're looking for SaaS-based solutions for end-user experience or application performance monitoring or infrastructure monitoring, ask your account teams to learn more about Digital Experience Insights, or go to our website. PreConference Education, I'm going to guess many of you on the call or those of you listening to the recording are familiar with this program. Again, one of the most popular programs that we offer at CA World. We'll continue to do 2 full days of pre-conference education within the Agile Ops. There's approximately 26 different slots. I don't know if I show the slots, but we'll, across our application, our infrastructure, and our network operations portfolio, we'll offer a number of programs across both Monday and Tuesday. Indeed, here are the slots. Now, these aren't the exact slots, but for Pre-Con Ed, we'll have, much like we did last year, we'll have a room dedicated to our application performance management portfolio, and there will be roughly 9 sessions for that portfolio. We'll have a second room for our infrastructure or our unified infrastructure monitoring portfolio, and we'll have a third room for our network operations portfolio. Total of 9 sessions, that's an estimate. For those of you who aren't familiar with Pre-Con Education, these are rooms where we've placed 40 PCs, keyboard, monitor, mice, and there's 2 chairs per terminal, if you will. I know that's an old term, but 2 chairs, so we can accommodate up to 80 people, in front of the monitor. The instructor may have a few slides to get the session going, but our intent is to get the attendees, get their fingers on keyboard, get them familiar with some aspect of the technology. It could be how to create or customize a dashboard. It could be how to leverage perspectives in our APM solution. It could be how to monitor Wi-Fi networks or virtualized networks. Again, the concept is get down, get deep, get into the technologies with fingers on keyboards. So that's Pre-Con Ed, Monday and Tuesday. On Wednesday, we open up our show floor in our executive center. For those of you who have been to CA World in the past, a couple years ago, we moved the exhibit center, the show floor, if you will, into what was actually a brand new building at Mandalay Bay. It required a relatively long walk. I'll acknowledge that going from those session areas on the 2nd level down that long escalator and then down either a long corridor or out a door and across the parking lot to get to the show floor. We've actually flip-flopped the show floor in the executive center. which means now it's going to be a longer walk to the executive center, but a shorter walk to the show floor. So we've made that change, and so that walk, if in fact you need to go from the show floor or the executive center for some reason on day 3 or 4, it's going to be a shorter walk. Here's a bird's eye view of the show floor, and of course what we care about, if you will, what I care about is that theater number 2, the Agile Ops. We rearranged the floor. Last year, you may recall, we were in the corner, so where Agile management is today. So we moved these theaters around. I'll go into a little bit more detail about what all those little icons, if you will, are in each of the session areas as we go forward. This year, we'll have 7 main theater areas, one of the new one being for automation, which will accommodate our Atomic acquisition as well as our traditional workload automation solutions. So that's a high-level bird's eye view of the main theaters on the show floor. Again, I'll talk about those icons as we go. If we take another look, there's lots of little call-outs here, but this just starts to go into some of the other areas, or what do those icons mean. I'll quickly acknowledge, again, we'll have our CA store. From a social media perspective, we'll have a lounge. Some of our social media experts will be there, encouraging you to participate in whether it's Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or LinkedIn. Trek, I mentioned earlier, the cycling enthusiasts among our peers as well as our customers. Last year, we invited Trek to come on. You could get onto a bicycle, a stationary bicycle, and with screens in front of you, you could have a virtual ride. For each mile that you rode, we contributed to a charity. We did really well with that last year. It was really popular, so we're bringing that back this year. I'll talk about Tech Talks and Smart Bars in a minute or two. You can see them on the lower part. Our little tap and brew, coffee in the morning, craft beers in the afternoon was quite popular, so we'll continue that. Acceleration Zone just coming around. Acceleration Zone, that's where we will feature some of our innovation solutions that we're incubating within the CA. Oftentimes, these look like independent companies. They don't necessarily have the CA Technologies logo front and center. Their product names might not even have CA associated with them. But this is where we show off some of the technologies that we're exploring, some of the innovations that we're exploring. So very popular last year. We brought it back this year. Executive one-on-ones, last year, if you look over to the right, you can see that Agile Operations had the most number of meetings. This is a good thing and a bad thing. The good thing is it's very popular. This is an opportunity for you to ask your account team to schedule time with one of the, whether it's one of the BU executives like Ali Siddiqui, our general manager, or one of the folks responsible for products, product managers, or even some of our developers are part of the one-on-one center. The meeting request system opens up. I forget the actual date, but I'll show it to you later on. But again, through your account teams, you make a request. The one request that I heard from last year from some of our participants, and this is the bad news, we send lots of folks out there and they never leave the one-on-one center. So the good news is they're popular. The bad news is in some cases it gets really tough for some of the most popular resources that we send out and assign to the one-on-one center. The bad news is sometimes they don't even get lunch. The feedback I got last year was, rather than set up individual meetings for multiple different peoples, one idea, and maybe we can help you as you request time through your account team to get access to the resources, is instead of having, a single meeting with Bob, a single meeting with Sally, a single meeting with Pete, maybe we combine that into one meeting and use their time more effectively. That's onus on us as far as scheduling. When I get to some of the key dates, I will share with you when this one-on-one meeting request process opens up. In the theater, this is just showing you that we've got a number of theater sessions that are 30 minutes in length, some that are 45. From an Agile Ops perspective, you can see in the purple box kind of how we'll divide up the theater sessions. Now, the theater is that large area that accommodates a couple hundred chairs. I don't know exactly how many we'll have this year, but we'll put the most popular sessions, for example, the roadmap session. So on Wednesday and Thursday, the roadmaps will generally be in the theater to accommodate those very large audiences that we know those roadmap sessions always attract. And so you can see 8 p.m. as an example. The roadmap will be in the theater, and there will be probably 3 other sessions that are have some content about APM. Now, it could be a session that features a customer that not only uses APM, but also uses our Unified Infrastructure Management solution or one of the solutions from our NetOps portfolio. So it doesn't necessarily mean that those 3 sessions will only be about APM. As you look at the session catalog, as you look at the agenda builder, you may recall from the past, if you're an alumni or if you're new, as we publish the session catalog, as we publish the agenda builder, in addition to a title and an abstract, all of those entries include what products will be incorporated. So one way, if you're just a Spectrum customer, as an example, if you're just a Spectrum customer, one approach might be to search through the session catalog for sessions that include Spectrum. There probably will be some that are just focused on Spectrum. Again, I'm using Spectrum as an example. It could be APM, it could be performance management, it could be network flow analysis, it could be unified infrastructure management. But you can search the session catalog and or the agenda builder and look for the products that you're most interested in and then perhaps build your agenda accordingly. Tech Talks. We introduced Tech Talks on the show floor last year, and we got really good feedback, in particular from folks that might be coming out of a one-on-one and wanted to go to a session and didn't want to make that long walk down the hall or out across the parking lot, up that long escalator, down a long hall to get to a session on Wednesday or Thursday. We're hoping to, frankly, eliminate that long walk to the second level. We haven't made the final decision yet, but one way to accommodate that is to, one, make the Tech Talk areas bigger. So for those of you who were there last year and may have attended a Tech Talk, you may recall that from the podium, we had 4 tables that sort of stand out like fingers. And this year, we rearranged the Tech Talks so it looks more like a classroom, if you will, or a theater, if you will. But we've also doubled the number of tables, or doubled the number of chairs, if you will. So last year, we could easily accommodate, I think it was 20 chairs at the 4 different tables that I referenced. I think if you count the chairs here, you can see there are 40. If you notice those little black boxes on each table, those are speakers. And we use those for a couple reasons. One is so that if you're not happen to be sitting at a chair, if you're standing in the back or standing to the side, you can still hear the speaker. We also do it from a perspective that there are a lot of Tech Talk areas. There are 7 different content areas. And you may notice that, oh, by the way, on the back side of that wall, there looks like what is another Tech Talk. In fact, there is. So for each content area, they'll have 2 Tech Talk areas, each accommodating 40 chairs. So we've not only doubled the size of the Tech Talks, but we've doubled the number. And this is hopefully a way that we can eliminate that long walk on Wednesday and Thursday, again, from whether it's the one-on-one area or from the show floor up to the second level. My goal is to have all of the Agile Ops sessions on Wednesday and Thursday either in the theater on the show floor or in one of these 2 Tech Talk areas that will accommodate. And again, you can see each day the schedule accommodates. So we will divide the number of tech talks each day. APM will roughly get 4, infrastructure will get 4, NetOps will get 5, service operations insight or service operations management will get 1. Smart Bar, we've changed this layout just a little bit. Last year, the Smart Bar looked like the Tech Talk, if you will. It had a podium that really wasn't used per se, other than another desktop for another expert, if you will, another smart person. We've rearranged it now so that the tables will just be on the show floor. Again, Smart Bar, long history, originated in what we used to call the technical campground, where people could go and sit down and sit with an expert. Typically, it's one-on-one, if you will, one expert with one customer. Now, it could be multiple members from a customer. And so we sort of moved away from the old tech talk, the technical campground. We continue the same concept. We now call it Smart Bar. It's the same idea. We put somebody that's really smart about application performance management or infrastructure management or network operations or service operations. And one thing that we're considering this year is might we actually have some specific topics at this area, or do we actually schedule some meetings at this area? If you have a particular opinion about how best to continue the tradition of the technical campground where we used to do scheduling, we found that scheduling to be very arduous and inflexible. Sometimes we would schedule a resource, the attendee wouldn't show up, and then that resource would be, unavailable to somebody else. Not blaming this on, on no-shows, if you will, but we're thinking about how to better leverage the Smart Bars with the thinking being it's an improvement on the technical campground. Is there a way we could actually improve it? So your input is very welcome. Speaking of input, call for speakers. For those of you on the live call, or those of you listening to the recording on today, Thursday, July 14th, or tomorrow, Friday, July 15th, if you are interested in speaking and haven't submitted a suggestion through our Call for Speakers program, please do now. We'll close that system at 5 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow, July 14th. We've got some great suggestions already from an Agile Ops perspective. In the next slide, I'll show you some of the themes that we're talking about. You'll recognize them if you were listening earlier as I talked about our content area description for Agile Ops. But again, this is available now. So going to ca.com/caworld, very prominently on that landing page, you'll find a link to get to Call for Speakers. By the way, just because you submit a topic doesn't mean we'll accept it, but we'll certainly entertain it. Our goal is to evaluate all the suggestions by the end of this month and get back to you with an acceptance or decline. For those of you who've spoken at CA World in the past, you know that we do waive your registration fee. We cannot waive your airfare or your hotels simply because you're a speaker, but we do waive your registration fee. Our case studies, if you will, I call them case studies. If it's customer speaking, our case studies have been very popular. If you go back a few slides, you'll recall that in the APM, there were a couple of case studies that were in the top 10, so we know that customers want to hear from customers. I think some of the best customer speakers are those that not only sort of wave the CA flag, and hey, we love that, of course, but those that, also say, here's the great things that I found with CA, or here's, the benefits of having a partnership with CA as a customer. But certainly customers also want to hear about the challenges. They want to hear about the feedback between customers and CA, and how did a customer create a partnership with CA in order to say, hey, I want that button to be green. It's red now. Is there a possibility to make it green? Or this dashboard, I'd like to be able to customize this dashboard, or these metrics aren't currently available in that dashboard. How do I get them there? So that partnership that we create is oftentimes part of a session or a case study that a customer delivers at CA World. For those of you wondering, case studies can be in the big theater, or they can be in the tech talk area as well. From a customer speaker perspective, if you go look, surprisingly enough, this is, the same description that I showed earlier is part of the call for speakers. What we're in particular looking for has a CA solution or set of solutions help you transition workloads to cloud-based systems, whether it's a public cloud like an AWS or a Microsoft or a Google, or some private public cloud outside of those three big. Could be a cloud provided by your systems integrator or your service provider or your wide area network provider. But has a CA solution or solutions help you transition workloads while providing the same level of performance and reliability you expect from an on-prem. By the way, it doesn't have to be a public cloud. It could be a private cloud. It could be one of those hyper-converged platforms where networking and systems and virtualization and storage are sort of all converged on a single platform. You probably know some of the major players in that space. So we're looking for suggestions around that topic. Another topic might be, how have we helped you incorporate microservices, whether it's Docker or OpenShift or Zombie? Are you using microservices in your application development that allows you to sort of make changes faster, upgrade applications faster, get new functionality to market faster? So has CA solution or solutions help you incorporate microservices to facilitate early, continuous, and reliable application delivery and performance? And then the third theme that we're very interested in is virtual networks. So how has a CA solution or solutions helped you deploy and monitor virtual networks? Again, whether it's software-defined networks, whether it's network function virtualization, whether it's software-defined data center technology or software-defined WAN. Probably one of the most important developments in the network operations space today is the virtual networking space and new technologies, whether it's from Cisco or Viptela or Juniper or NetRounds or Nuage, and I'm sure I'm missing some of the players out there, but again, we're very interested. As I mentioned earlier, are these only the topics that we want you to suggest from a call for speakers perspective? No. It could be something that you're thinking that doesn't involve cloud-based or doesn't include microservices or virtual networks. Don't feel like these are the only areas of interest for us. These are important areas.
The system has detected that a minimum number of lines are connected to this conference. Do you want to continue your meeting? Press 1 to confirm. If there is no response, the conference will end.
Hey, Andrew,
okay.
Sorry, that was weird. I got it fixed.
So as I start to wrap up, some of the key dates of those highlighted in italics are about to close or have previously closed, so I call for speakers. I can see, by the way, it's July 14th, not 15th, my mistake there. As I mentioned earlier, call for speaker submitters will be notified by the end of the month. From a session perspective, what sessions are you going to deliver? We'll publish a program guide in early August. The program guide typically gives you the title of the session and the area that session will be delivered in. The session catalog is when we start to expand and not only provide you with a title, but also an abstract. And then the agenda builder sort of completes the cycle where you have the title, the abstract, the date, the time, the location, the products that are going to be included, the speaker who's going to be involved. So it's a build-up from sharing with you the titles of the sessions and the areas that they will be delivered in, to sharing the title in the abstract, and then sharing the title, the abstract, the date, the time, the location, etc. For speakers, not only from CA speakers, but also for our customer speakers, we'll start reviewing presentations on September 15th. So if you're going to submit a topic for our Call for Speakers program, keep this deadline in mind. And then October 10th, as I promised earlier, I couldn't remember the date off the top of my head, but our Executive One meeting request systems opens up on October 10th, and it is a mad dash that month between October 10th and November 10th. It's a mad dash to get all those requests processed, to get those resources assigned, to make sure those resources are available and aren't delivering a session, whether it's in the theater or in the tech talk area or as part of a smart bar, making sure that there's no conflicts as you make those requests. I believe this is my last slide, just to share with you. CA World takes a village. For those of you familiar with that concept, it takes a lot of people. I'm surrounded by a great team of folks that help me with Agile Ops. If you want to send me an email, remember subject line CAW17, but you may also be hearing from my track leads, our track leads. Amy Feldman is going to do the application performance management and analytics track. Umair Khan will do the infrastructure management track, and Jeremy Rosbeck will do the network operations and analytics track. We have a fourth track this year. I mentioned that digital experience analytics insights track, Vicki Page. You may have already heard from some of these people. I was just happened to be talking with Jeremy Rosbeck this morning about his track, and I know he's already reached out to a good number of customers for sessions that might involve Spectrum or performance management or virtual network assurance or network flow analysis or application delivery analysis. So I know this team is already working with some of you on sessions for CA World. And I'll come back. I said that was my last slide. Obviously, it was not. But just a reminder, I'm happy to take emails. If they don't start with CAW17, the subject line doesn't start with CAW17, doesn't mean I won't look at it. But again, if you use that style, if you use that format, it will be more readily trackable by me. Again, I often start my day by sorting my inbox and looking at the CAW17 emails first. With that, I'm available for questions. Again, if you want to send me an email or you want to post something in the user community or you want to follow up by phone, I'm happy to take your calls. And with that, Chris, I've completed my prepared remarks. Not sure if you can open it live to questions or if you want to close out the call. Chris, back to you.
All right, thanks, Steve. Really appreciate it. All right, everybody, thank you for joining today. It looks like there's no further questions at this time. I will post the recording of this, and if anybody does have any additional questions, you can go ahead and comment on the recording, and I will make sure that we get those answered for you. Stephen, once again, thank you for joining today and presenting.
You're welcome. Thank you, everybody, for listening to either the live broadcast or to the recording. Bye for now.
Thanks again, everyone. Have a great day.